2023, Sergio Perez had a horrible year with Red Bull, driving so bad that he made the dominant RB19 look like a midfield car at times. Thanks to Verstappen's dominance, Red Bull were able to win the Constructors Championship with only one driver, as Verstappen himself secured 575 points. Second place Mercedes only scored 409. Red Bull technically did not need a second driver in 2023, so Perez got to keep his seat for 2024. He did finish second, but nearly 300 points behind his teammate in the same car. So that sparked a question for me. How bad can Perez perform before Red Bull loses a title? Let's do some math to answer that question. Let's go to the extreme ends. In 2024, we're going to have 24 races. Let's assume that Max wins all 24. 25 points per win would give him 600 points by the end of the season. Actually, scratch that. Let's give him the fastest lap as well in all races for 1 point extra per race, so a total of 624 points. Let's also say that there are no sprint weekends for 2024, just for simplicity's sake. Ferrari seems to be Red Bull's closest competitor in 2024, and both Leclerc and Sainz are faster than Perez in recent times. So let's give Ferrari a lockout second and third in all 24 races. The order does not matter, but to make it simple, Leclerc finishes second in all races and Sainz would finish third in all races. Second place would give you 18 points times 24, and that would be 432 points. Third place would give you 15 points times 24, and that would be 360 points. Together, the Ferrari drivers have 792 points, 168 more points than Verstappen. That means Perez needs to score at least 169 points for Red Bull to win the title in the most extreme scenario. Let's say Perez finished 4th in all races. 12 points for 4th place times 24 is 288 points. In 2023, Perez had a total of 285 points, so it's about where he usually is. If he only placed 4th over the entire season, Red Bull wins the title with 912 points, 120 more points than Ferrari. If you assume that this is the baseline for Sergio Perez in 2024, then he only has 119 points that he can afford to lose before it actually costs Red Bull the title. Perez finishing 4th in every race is not an issue for Red Bull in the long run. But let's say Hamilton has a really good season and finish ahead of Perez, pushing him down to 5th in every race. 10 points per race times 24 would give him 240 points. That means Red Bull would have 864 points. They would still win the title over Ferrari, but only with 72 points over. So Perez would still win the Constructors Championship by only finishing 5th. Let's continue. Let's say Norris have a fantastic season and he pushes Perez down to 6th in every race. That position would give you 8 points times 24 for a total of 192 points. If we add that to Max's points, you would get 816. Red Bull still wins over Ferrari, but now the gap is only 24 points. So even in 6th place in every race, Red Bull would still win because of Max's dominance. Let's say Alonso has an amazing season, pushing Perez down to 7th at 6 points per race times 24, and that is 144 points. Together with Max, Red Bull would have 768 points, which means Ferrari would win the title by 24 points over Red Bull. So Perez would need to have an average finish of 7th place over the entire season for Red Bull to actually lose the title if Max keeps dominating like he has been. Is this a totally impossible scenario? Not if you ask me. Let's say the gap between Red Bull and the rest is 2-3 tenths on average, maybe 5 to 6 tenths in Max's hands. If Perez is not performing at his best, the other cars will overtake him. The Red Bull only looked dominant in Max's hands last year. In Sergio's hands, it looked like a normal car. Last year, Perez struggled versus multiple drivers and teams that frequently overtook him. He finished second with 285 points, but in 7th place, Sainz had 200. If Perez did not have an impressive early form last year, he would have finished behind the likes of Hamilton and the likes of Alonso. Even George Russell, who struggled really hard last season, finished 8th place with 175 points. So, if the gap between Red Bull and the other teams is smaller this year, it is totally possible for Perez to finish as low as 9th place in the standings, losing Red Bull the title even if Red Bull are winning every race. If the field is actually closer to Red Bull in 2024, Red Bull would need Perez to perform more than ever. This was just a thought experiment, just to set up the tone for the season. I think Perez has it in him to perform. He's done it in the past. We all know what he's capable of to do a really good job for Red Bull. Let's just hope for some great racing in 2024.